I don't see them moving out of the channel they're in without some sort of geopolitical news.
Yeah, well, a lot of investors are thinking probably the same way that we are, and this increase in oil prices is it's not going to last. It's a one time and a decade event, and who knows if it'll ever happen again.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, take it while I can, but I think they are priced right where they need to be priced. All right, here we go, man. Moving on to the next thing. The United States Senate passed that bill to boost chip manufacturing in the United States. That way we can compete with China. This is directly going to affect the chip makers, which today, almost all of them moved up. On that news and on the news that Qualcomm had decent earnings report there. I mean, everybody thought they had decent earnings report. They were up. They actually came out with their earnings report. It dropped down, but they had good guidance, and the guidance sometimes will be key to how a stock moves going forward. With this Senate passing a bill saying the U.S. is going to fork out $50 billion to help build manufacturing plants here, but they won't be open for 2 to 3 years. Do you invest in chip stocks now, or do you wait and hold off because most of them, not all, gapped up today? You wait for a pullback.
Don't you love it? They'll be ready just in time for the supply shortage to be over with.
Right.
And our government looks at China and says, hey, there's an economy with, half a billion people that are living on a dollar a day or less. Let's be more like them. No, we don't need to do this. We don't need to do it. There's plenty of money already in tech, and there's plenty of money already that the semiconductor companies have. They can do it themselves.
But see, this no, hold on. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. But at the same point in time, like Germany's paying for Intel to build a plant out there. These companies are getting money from other countries to build plants there. They come into the United States and saying, hey, you need to give us money too for us to build a plant there.
Yeah, and then 20 years from now, half the plants won't exist anymore. They'll be empty, just like our malls are.
Well,
you know what happened with the malls, right? The local government paid people to come in and take up the space. So you had all these investors, getting paid basically to build malls, and then they failed.
Yep.
Now,
I'm not a big fan of the government subsidizing a lot of things. There's sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. It's very thin line there to walk and walk that balance.
In general, if it's needed, the free market can do it.
But when it comes to chip stocks, bringing back to stocks and money and finance here, when it comes to chip stocks, Brandon, do you see this as a wait for them to drop back down? Do you think they all gapped up? Now I wait for the drop, or do you think you get in and you roll with the train because it's going to take off?
I think you buy NVIDIA.
Okay.
Buy the leader.
Now, isn't Taiwan the leader?
Yeah, it is, but it's just too much geopolitical uncertainty. And I've played around with that stock a few times. If there was no geopolitical uncertainty, the stock would probably be trading at a PE of like 50.
Gotcha. All right, man. Fair enough. And the very last one I have here for you, buddy, is I want to talk about one that I've been it's a stock I've been talking about. You may not have any comment whatsoever on it, but I'm going to mention this, and it was RIOT. How last week on the podcast, I said we sold, we got out. I posted on Instagram, sell, get out, take your profit. It was a great opportunity. If you wanted to, you can hold on to it. There should be more upside, but you're going to be hold on to it for a little bit, waiting for that upside to hit. But if you were up, take your profit out. Well, it went right back down right afterwards. So I went ahead, bought back in, and then I sold again today, and I made more money. Am I saying that this is going to continue the channel like this going forward? Probably, but I'm not willing to make that call on the podcast. All right, that's kind of where I'm at.
Breaks out, you can play the breakout. Either way, puts a call, whether it's going up or down.
I mean, eventually it's going to go back up, but I agree with some of the analysts. Some, not most of them, were happy about the rate, the move up today, but there were some out there saying, hey, I still see a possible another dip down before we eventually make a slow move up. And it will be a slow move, but I'm kind of in that camp right now. And just because it fits better with my October timeline that I put it out there, that all fits better for me. So that works a lot smoother that we see another dip down. So I'm looking for more of a channeling approach to Riot than anything else.
Yeah.
I always keep it on my watch list, so I have an eye on it. I'm not currently in it right now. Like I said, I bought it and sold it, and then bought it and sold it. So I'm not currently in it right now, but I am looking for an opportunity to get in. So that's where I'm at on that. All right, Brandon, final thoughts. You go first.
The recession could be a sell the news, buy the rumor. Oftentimes you have bad things like that happen. Good things like Apple's announcing, well, not now, but if they announce like an iPhone, what would it be, like a 13 if they did it? I think the
14 or 15,
14,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Whatever. The rumor would come out, everybody would buy Apple, and then they would sell once the news hit that they were actually going to, unleash a new iPhone. With a recession, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to sell the news and try to price the market downwards for a recession. And then, if the recession comes in and it's not like so steep that it scares everybody to death, then, you buy the news in that situation. So
yeah, I never buy the news, man. You sell the news. You always sell the news.
No, you sell the rumor of a recession and then you buy the news of the recession, because if the recession comes, it's already here. You may have already bought them. And that's part of the reason why stock markets go back up prior to the recession waning.
Yep. Tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m., GDP report comes out. We'll find out. 8:30 a.m.
Will you text it to me? I'll be at work.
I'll text it to you. I'll let you know what it comes out with. I'll be happy to. I may even Instagram it. So there you go, guys.
Good.
Final thought from me is I'm keeping Riot on my watch list. I'm looking for maybe another downturn before we start to have a slow rise up. It all fits in that October timeline. GDP number tomorrow, I'm looking at a negative number, but I don't know if that's going to move the markets negative because it could already be priced in. The Fed rate today, I don't believe was high enough. They did say they're going to do another rate, but they said it would be smaller rate cut. I'm looking for more rate cuts. I think we need it to really put a halt to the economy in order to curb the inflation. That's what I'm looking at going forward. I'm keeping an eye on this. I don't really have any big calls because I'm already in the semiconductor area. So I'm happy they're moving forward. I'm starting to make a lot more money on those. But I don't have any new calls in those areas, just the same ones I've had before, continue to hold the long-term positions. That's what I'm looking at. All right, guys. As always, we hope we've been entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. Have a good night.
Have a good night.